Hey everyone, welcome back to HD Reddit Reads. Today's topic is, what is your haha, oh wait, you're serious moment? Let's get into it. New friend. I really shouldn't be doing so many extreme sports, but you gotta live your life, right? I'm gonna end up in a wheelchair by the time I'm 30. Me. Ha, I know, right? New friend. No, I mean really. I have a degenerative disease that's going to ruin my body by my 30s, so I'm trying to live my life now. Started a new job in a company where my boss worked in 2 different offices. He wrote himself a note on legal paper. He handed it to me and told me to fax it to the other office. Then he told me to call them and tell them to put it on his desk there so he could have it tomorrow when he arrived. I smiled because I thought he was playing a joke on the new guy. He was not. He loves faxing. Waking up from general anesthesia. One of the nurses by my hospital bed gently informs me that my heart had stopped while I was under. I thought I was dreaming for a while and didn't take it seriously. Then my dad showed up and I saw panic on his face. Then I phoned my mom and she had obviously been crying her eyes out. Then I took it seriously. I listed my Ford Explorer for sale. A guy emailed me to trade his 2018 Kia Forte or something. I didn't really need one since my fleet already had a 2013 Kia Forte, but he emailed me a few times saying he wants my Explorer but owes money on his Kia. I said how much. He said it's an 8-year finance deal, so he needs to pay a total of $45,000, and he wanted my car. I could buy that car right now for $25,000 to $30,000 at the dealership, brand new. He was dead serious. When I was in college, 2 friends and I went out to a cheap Chinese buffet for a weekend lunch. We were probably not particularly well groomed or dressed at the time, so at a nearby table, there a woman and a man having lunch, both dressed in a business attire. After they finish, the woman, probably in her 20s, comes over to our table out of nowhere and starts chatting with us, making normal chit-chat. Kind of odd, but maybe she's just friendly. All of a sudden, she asks, "Do you guys like to F?" We just look at each other and laugh nervously, because how do you respond to that in this situation? She just stood there, completely serious. I don't even remember what we said to her after that. This was 20 years ago, but despite sounding like the beginning of a porno, it was only followed by another round at the buffet, not a gangbang. I once worked with a 50-year-old guy at my first job, who also happened to be a former crackhead. I added in that deal because his mannerisms and communication were clearly affected by the prior drug use, and he would sometimes laugh when he was telling serious stories. One day he was telling me a story about him accidentally setting fire to the woods when he was trying to cremate his dead pet frog when he was a little boy. I was laughing my ass off, strangely, so was he, until he looked me dead in the eye with a face as serious as they get and says, "I'm still not over it." I knew that look, and knew he was actually being serious, despite being in absolute hysterics with me while telling a story. I immediately felt like an a-hole. He was cool about it though, thankfully, lol. I'm in Australia, and first heard the news of 9/11 on my morning radio, USA Evening. I was stuck in traffic near the army base, and they announced it with sirens. To start off with what I thought was a comedy sketch that I didn't think was particularly funny, I had a pretty dark sense of humor too. Then I realized it was the news. Holy shit. Someone wanted to euthanize their dog because when she was put outside alone in heat, she found a chihuahua and they had ugly puppies that caused a breeding session. When we asked what that had to do with anything, he said the chihuahua's sperm is forever inside of her and can make those ugly puppies instead of a pure breed. This dog was definitely not a pure breed. When we said that things don't work that way, he said, "I know for a fact they do. That's why my daughter is half N-word, and N-word raped my wife back when she was in her 20s, and his sperm stayed inside her until mine activated it. And we all know N-sperm is more violent, so it won." He was serious. An intern at the vet I work at was a very, very, very sheltered Mormon. He came to work one day, panicked. He had his first kiss the night before, asked the girl to marry him, and was concerned about the wedding date. He was absolutely convinced that he got her pregnant by kissing her. Absolutely convinced. It took me a long time to register what he had panicked about because it sounded so absurd. He delivered hundreds of kittens and puppies by then. I just thought he had learned about the human reproductive anatomy as well as animals by then. Reminds me of middle school. My friends and I grew up sheltered Christians. I was the least sheltered, as my parents still believe in science and dinosaurs, and my sex ed talk with them was very informative and normal, and featured all of the scientifically appropriate names for genitals and whatnot. They didn't want me to have sex, but they did me the decency of explaining how it worked and that it wasn't bad. It was for people who had made a strong commitment to one another, and was fun when you did it right and when you were being smart. I didn't realize how lucky I was till a friend of mine panicked, asked me at lunch if it was true that a guy could get you pregnant through your genes. Insert my haha wait, what? Moment. While she explained that she snuck out last night with a boy and they had a heated makeout sesh, which involved some heavy petting, her mom had given her the talk and told her that you could get pregnant even if both partners were wearing clothes. To this day, I don't know if her mom was that sheltered as well, or if it was just a malicious way to keep her daughter from effing around, but I have never forgotten what seemed to be my 14-year-old self as a great betrayal of trust between parent and child. And anyway, that'd be why she snuck out. If she had a normal mom, she could have just introduced her to her boyfriend. I came into my job and my boss was running a bit late for an unknown reason. Now, my boss is the type of person to joke around about anything, no matter how serious it is, and will pull it off with a straight face. We never really take him seriously unless it's directly related to work. He comes in after being late, and after a bit, just casually says our close coworker had passed away the previous night. I literally chuckled and said, yeah, sure, and blew it off. He then said that he died from a heart attack before he was set to go out with his buddies during the evening. I then said, oh wait, are you actually serious? And he almost started crying right there and said yes. I miss that man to this day, really chill guy with some cool hobbies and volunteer work. I also feel so bad for my boss because they had known each other for years. My estranged auntie sending me a message to disinvite me to my sick but alive father's funeral because, wait for it, I had lunch with my little half-brother and sister, and that is disrespectful to my father. My father never met me and half-siblings me before this lunch had occurred, and by meeting them, he disowned me. Literally, that's it. Just my effed up family. When I came back from lunch at work to find that one of the soft drink vendors, because at grocery stores they stock their own product, our suckers don't, loaded the pallets wrong and a tower of pallets fell, spilling soda, tea, glass everywhere. The boss, store manager, just so happened to walk into the back room at the same time, looked at me, and was like, "You saw it, you're cleaning it up." Thinking he was joking, as he liked to do, I laughed it off. That's when he looked me dead in the eye and said, "No, I mean you're really cleaning it up because that's your job." Insert me spending the rest of my shift cleaning it up and my department head constantly calling me over intercom and getting yelled at and then written up the very next day because I didn't do my duties in addition to cleaning up that epic mess. Getting fired later that year was one of the best things to happen to me. Years back I dated a girl who would lie compulsively about random things. The first big example, I went to her place. She had just got Assassin's Creed for the first time and was really getting into the story. Like a week later, she was telling me how she just discovered her family were related to assassins from Florence. I thought it was a joke, but turns out she was serious. Had changed her surname to something Italian on Facebook, and had already spread the lie about it on social media. In my head, I was like, I literally watched you play Assassin's Creed last week. But she was gorgeous, way out of my league. So I put up with this and other crazy shit for about another 6 months before I gave up. One day, my boss asked me if I'd be willing to do some testing for a new software our company had purchased. I already knew the program, so I said that was fine. He said I should expect to receive a meeting invite in the next day or so. The next morning, I had a meeting invite and I accept. I didn't recognize anyone else who had been invited, but assumed that they were from the vendor, which is normal. Time comes for the meeting, and it's a dial-in sort of deal, which again is normal for this kind of thing. I dial in on time, and everyone is saying their hellos, and someone asks if I'm on the call. So I say, "Yep, I'm here," and things get started. The call starts with discussing some coding issues, which is fine, but has nothing to do with me, so I figure they'll get to the testing stuff in a bit. That is, until someone says, "Oh, me should look into that." At this point, it dawns on me, this is not my meeting. So I said, "Sorry guys, but I think you have the wrong person," and there was stunned silence. "Who are you then?" they ask. I give my first and last name, title and location. Then someone starts laughing. This was the person who sent the meeting invite. They were trying to invite 2 other people to the meeting, one with the same first name as me and one with the same last name. Instead, he invited me. And apparently, I sound just like one of those people, so no one suspected anything until I spoke up. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing. It'll be greatly appreciated. And if you want to visit the original thread, I'll link it in the description. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.